There is one foundation mistake that adds 10 years to your face, and 4 out of 5 women watching this are making it right now. It's not the only one. There are 10. But we'll start with that one, because the moment you stop doing it, you'll see the difference in a single photo. Here's what nobody tells you, and it's the key to all 10. Young skin and mature skin don't wear foundation the same way. Young skin is smooth and plump. It bounces light around evenly, so foundation glides on and looks flawless no matter what you do. Mature skin has more texture, finer lines, drier patches, and less natural glow. So foundation behaves differently on it. Heavy formulas sink into the texture and map every line. Matte formulas kill the light and read as flat and old. Anything applied to dry, unprepped skin clings to the creases. The rules changed and nobody handed you the new ones. The counter just kept selling you the same full coverage, matte, long-wear formulas that look incredible on 20-year-old skin in an ad and add a decade to yours in real life. So let's start with that biggest mistake. Number 1, and work through all 10, then the 5 fixes that undo them. Mistake number 1, the wrong shade, and matching it in the wrong place, in the wrong light. This is the most common aging mistake there is, and most women have no idea they're making it. Foundation that's too light makes the face look ashy, washed out, and ill. Too dark or too orange looks muddy and harsh. But the real killer is the undertone. A foundation that's too pink or too yellow for your skin fights your natural coloring and reads as a mask. And almost everyone tests shade the wrong way. They swatch it on the back of the hand, which is a completely different color than the face, and they check it under store lighting, which is engineered to flatter. You end up buying a shade that looks right in the store and wrong in daylight. The wrong shade alone can add years before you've blended a single stroke. Mistake number 2, too much product. More coverage feels like more control. If a little hides the imperfections, surely a lot hides more. On mature skin, the opposite is true. A thick, full coverage layer has nowhere to go but into your lines and pores, settling and separating over the hours until it's cracked into every crease you own. Heavy foundation doesn't hide age, it maps it. The most youthful skin is skin you can still see through a little, skin with coverage where you need it, and bare breathing skin everywhere else. Caking it on is the fastest way to look like you're wearing your age on the surface. Mistake number 3. The wrong formula for your skin's age. This is the one the counter is most responsible for. Matte and powder foundations were the default for years, and they are merciless on mature skin. They absorb the light, flatten the face, cling to dry texture, and emphasize every fine line. After a certain age, your skin needs the opposite. A luminous, satin, or dewy formula that reflects light, mimics the glow your skin used to have on its own, and stays flexible instead of setting hard. If your foundation is labeled matte, full coverage matte, or long wear matte, it is very likely working against you no matter how beautifully you apply it. Mistake number 4, skipping skin prep. Foundation is only ever as good as the canvas underneath it. Apply it to dry, flaky, unhydrated skin, and it will grab onto every rough patch and sit in every line, no matter how expensive the formula. Most women moisturize, immediately apply foundation on top before the moisturizer has absorbed, and wonder why it pills and slides. Prep is not optional after 40. It's the difference between foundation that melts into the skin and foundation that sits on top of it like a layer of paint on a cracked wall. Mistake number 5, overpowdering. Powder is where so many women undo all their good work. The instinct is to set everything, lock it down, kill the shine. So they dust powder over the entire face heavily, especially under the eyes and around the mouth. And powder, by its nature, is drying and light absorbing. Piled on mature skin, it settles into fine lines, exaggerates texture, and turns a luminous base into a flat, dry, aging finish. The areas you most want to powder, under the eyes and around the mouth, are exactly the areas where powder ages you the most, because that's where the finest lines live. Mistake number 6, applying foundation to the entire face. Most women coat the whole face evenly, edge to edge, like painting a wall. But you don't need coverage everywhere. You need it where there's actual redness or unevenness, usually the center of the face, around the nose, maybe some on the chin. The outer cheeks, the forehead edges, the jaw are often perfectly even already, and covering them just adds product that will crease and emphasizes that you're wearing a layer. Strategic, sheer placement looks like good skin. Full, even coverage looks like foundation. Mistake number 7, heavy concealer under the eyes. The under eye is the thinnest, most delicate, most movement-prone skin on your face, and it's where most women apply the thickest layer of the most full coverage product they own, in a shade chosen to be as bright as possible. The result is inevitable. It creases, it cakes, it settles into the fine lines within an hour, and the bright white shade draws the eye straight to the area you were trying to disguise. Heavy under-eye concealer is one of the single most aging things you can do with makeup, and almost everyone overdoes it. Mistake number 8, the face and neck mismatch. You match your foundation to your face, blend it beautifully, and stop at the jawline, leaving a visible line where your made-up face meets your bare, differently colored neck. Necks are often paler or differently toned than faces, so the contrast announces loudly that you are wearing foundation, and a hard line at the jaw is one of the most aging tells there is. A face that's a different color than the neck it sits on never looks young, no matter how flawless the face itself is. Mistake number 9, poor tools and poor blending. Foundation lives or dies on the blend. Harsh edges at the hairline, caking around the nostrils, product collecting in the laugh lines, a different texture on the jaw than the cheeks. These are blending failures, and they read as age and effort rather than polish. Many women use the wrong tool for their formula, don't blend long enough, or blend with something dry that drags product into lines instead of pressing it smoothly into the skin. The right tool and a proper blend can make a drugstore foundation look luxurious. The wrong approach makes the best foundation in the world look cheap. Mistake number 10, ignoring oxidation and using the wrong finish for the moment. Here's one almost nobody knows. Many foundations oxidize, meaning they turn a shade darker or more orange about 15 minutes after they meet your skin's oils. So you match a shade that looks perfect when wet, and an hour later you're wearing a mask that's noticeably too dark. On top of that, women keep foundation far past its lifespan. Old foundation oxidizes faster, separates, and clings, and they pick finishes that fight the lighting they'll actually be in. All of this compounds into a base that looks off in a way that ages you, even when you can't name why. That's the 10. And here's the thread that runs through every single one of them, because I don't want you to walk away memorizing a list. I want you to understand the principle so you can fix problems I didn't even name. The principle is this: youthful looking skin reflects light, moves naturally, and looks like skin. Every one of those 10 mistakes does one of 3 things. It adds weight that cracks and creases, it kills the light and flattens the face, or it advertises that you're wearing makeup at all. Avoid those 3 failures and you look younger automatically, regardless of which specific products you own. Now let me give you the 5 fixes, each of which clears several mistakes at once. Fix number 1, prep like the canvas matters, because it does. Before any foundation touches your face, your skin needs to be smooth, hydrated, and ready. Cleanse gently, then apply a hydrating moisturizer, and this is the step everyone skips: wait. Give it a couple of minutes to actually absorb so you're not applying foundation onto a wet, slippery surface. If you have dry patches, a drop of facial oil pressed into them first stops foundation from grabbing there. A good primer can help, but you don't need an expensive one. On mature skin, a simple hydrating primer or even just well-absorbed moisturizer often works better than the silicone blurring primers that can emphasize texture. This single habit fixes mistake number 4 outright and makes every other step easier, because foundation glides over a prepped canvas and clings to a neglected one. Fix number 2, go lighter, go luminous, and build only where you need it. Throw out the instinct that more coverage is better. Switch to a luminous, satin, or dewy formula, something that reflects light and stays flexible, and apply it sheer. Start with a small amount in the center of your face, where most redness and unevenness lives, and blend outward, building a second thin layer only on the specific spots that still need it. Leave the edges of your face lighter or bare. This one approach fixes mistakes 2, 3, and 6 at the same time. You've ditched the aging matte formula, you've stopped caking, and you've stopped coating areas that didn't need it. The face that results looks like good skin, luminous even where it counts, breathing everywhere else, which is the entire goal. Fix number 3. Nail the shade, the undertone, and the neck. Stop testing on your hand. Swatch foundation along your jaw, where the face meets the neck, and choose the shade that disappears. That's your match, because it bridges face and neck instead of mismatching either. Check it in natural daylight, never under store lighting, by stepping near a window or going outside with a mirror. Account for oxidation by letting a test patch sit for 15 minutes before you judge it. If it's drifted darker or orange, go a touch lighter or a different undertone. And whatever you apply to your face, carry the last sheer remnants on your tool down onto the neck and blend, so there's no line at the jaw. This fix erases mistakes 1, 8, and 10, and it's worth more than any product upgrade because the right shade on a luminous base is most of the battle. Fix number 4. Treat the under eye gently in thin layers with the right color. The under eye needs the lightest touch on your whole face. Hydrate it first. A tiny bit of eye cream or moisturizer pressed in and given a moment to absorb, so concealer has something smooth to sit on. Then use a small amount of a creamy, hydrating concealer, not a thick, full coverage one, in a shade close to your skin rather than several shades brighter. If you have darkness to correct, a peach or salmon corrector under a thin layer of concealer neutralizes it far more naturally than piling on white. Apply in sheer layers, building only if needed, and set it with the barest touch of powder only if it tends to crease, and only right on the crease-prone spot, not the whole area. This fixes mistake 7, the single most common aging error in the entire routine, and it's the one that makes the biggest visible difference to how rested and youthful you look. Fix number 5, powder less, set strategically, and mist to meld, the youth restoring finish. This is the fix that ties everything together and the one I most want you to remember. Stop powdering your whole face. Powder only the areas that actually get shiny and where you don't have fine lines to worry about, usually just the T-zone, the center of the forehead, the sides of the nose. Leave your cheeks, your under eyes, and the perimeter of your face powder-free so they keep their natural glow and their flexibility. Then, to lock everything in and erase that powdery sitting on top look, finish with a light mist of a hydrating setting spray. The mist melts the layers together, knocks back any powderiness, and brings back the luminous, skin-like finish. That single step is the difference between makeup that reads as a mask and makeup that reads as great skin. This fixes mistake 5 and number 9's flat, caked finish in one move, and it's the change that makes people ask what you're doing differently without being able to say why. Add those 5 up and you have a complete philosophy, not just a tutorial. Hydrate the canvas, go light and luminous, match shade to the jaw and neck in real light, treat the under eye like the delicate skin it is, and powder less while melding more. None of it requires expensive products. All of it requires unlearning the heavy, matte, full coverage habits the beauty counter spent years teaching you, because those habits sold the most product, not because they made you look your best. Let me be honest about a couple of things, because I'm not going to pretend this is one size fits all. Skin and coloring vary enormously, and finding your exact shade and formula takes a little trial and error. Testing on the jaw in daylight is the method, but you'll still need to try a few. If your skin is oily, you'll need a bit more powder than someone with dry skin, just placed strategically rather than everywhere. And makeup sits on top of skincare. If the skin underneath is dry, irritated, or neglected, no foundation technique fully compensates, which is why the skincare and the makeup work together. The goal of all of this isn't to chase looking 20 again. It's to stop the makeup from making you look older than you are, and to let the face you actually have look rested, luminous, and like itself. That's an achievable goal at any age, and it's mostly free because it's technique. Here's what I want you to do, and it costs nothing. Tonight or tomorrow, before you buy a single new product, try just 2 of these fixes with the foundation you already own. Prep your skin properly and apply it sheer and luminous instead of full and matte. Look at the difference in daylight. I think you'll be surprised how much of what you blamed on your face was actually the method, and how much younger the same products look the moment you stop fighting your own skin with them. If this gave you a few light bulb moments, leave a comment telling me which of the 10 mistakes you've been making without realizing. I read them, and honestly, the comments on videos like this turn into the best crowdsourced advice anywhere, because it's real women sharing what finally worked for them. And if you want more of this, the technique nobody taught you, the stuff that makes the face you have look its best instead of older, come subscribe to the Beauty Armor. This is becoming a real place for women who are done being sold complicated, expensive answers to problems that have simple ones. Next time I'm getting into blush, because where you place it might be the single most underrated trick in makeup. Placed one way, it lifts the whole face and takes years off, and placed the way most women were taught, it literally drags the face downward and adds them. Same product, opposite result, and almost nobody knows the difference. I'll show you exactly where it goes. See you in that one.